Hey, welcome GW2 fans. So today we're going to be talking about completing a full set of legendary armor in PvP. We're going to break this video down into 4 separate segments where we're going to talk about the rewards from PvP. We're going to talk about the prerequisites that you're going to need to have completed to start this adventure. Where we're going to talk about the materials that are going to be needed to complete this full set of legendary armor, and then finally we're going to talk about the 22-week roadmap that I have set out on how you complete this armor completely in 22 weeks. Before we get into all of that, I wanted to take a quick moment real quick. I've been looking over the analytics for my channel this past week, and I've noticed that only 5% of the people that are watching the videos are subscribed to the channel. So subscribing to the channel really helps me out continuing to make content. So if you guys are finding this video or any other videos that I've made useful, please take a quick second, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave some feedback or a like at the end of when you're done watching the video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm also going to leave some timestamps down in the description so that you can fast forward to the part of the video that's going to help you out. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the 2 different reward types that you're going to be having in ranked PvP. So if you go to the PvP and you click on the league type, and if you hit all rewards, you're going to notice that there are 6 different chests here right now. If you are in a mini season or what was a 2v2 deathmatch season last season, they last 3 weeks, and then there will only be 4 chests available to you in that time. The final chest for each season is repeatable. You just will not have access to the PvP league tickets on that repeatable chest. So that is part of where the time gate is going to be coming from for completing this armor. Alright, so now that we've talked about the current reward system here for the current season, let's go ahead and talk about how you progress through this reward track. So if you go ahead and you notice here, there is the skill ratings, and then you can also click on divisions. There are 5 different ratings for players during the ranked season, ranging from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and legendary. So the first mechanic for the pip system is whether you win or whether you lose your match. If you win your match, you are going to receive 10 pips, and if you lose your match, you are going to receive 3 pips. There is one additional available pip that you can earn if you get a top stat during the match, regardless of whether you win or lose the match. Finally, for the top 2 tiers, the legendary and the platinum tiers, you are going to notice that you are able to get 2 additional for the platinum and 4 additional for the legendary. One final caveat to note is that if you lose a match by 80% or less of the winning team's score, you will also receive 2 additional pips. So if you were to lose a match, say 500 to 400, and you also had a top stat, you would gain 6 pips from that match if you were in the gold tier or below. So now that we've talked about the progression there, let's go ahead and take a look at the other reward type. So similar to the world versus world reward tracks, you are going to be able to get reward tracks here in PvP. The nice thing about the PvP legendary armor is instead of having to run the reward track for the first tier of the armor and the Gift of Battle reward track, you are able to actually complete it by just going through and completing the glorious reward track 6 times. So you will get both the armor piece and a core fragment, which is the equivalent of the Gift of Battle. So let's go ahead and talk about how this track is increased. Now, this track, unlike World versus World, where you have to just do participation and then you gain based on your participation level, the experience that you're gaining towards this reward track is 100% driven by whether you win or whether you lose a match. If you win a match, you gain 700 experience towards this track, and if you lose a match, you gain 350 experience. These reward tracks are all 20,000 experience to complete, so we will take a look at that as we go through the guide later on, and the expectations that we have for completing these reward tracks. Alright, so now that we've discussed how the rewards are progressed here in PvP, let's go ahead and talk about the prerequisites that we are going to need to be able to follow this guide to completion. So the first one to be able to queue for ranked PvP is you are going to need to be a minimum of rank 20 or a Doliac rank. So if you look down here in the bottom left, or if you look at your starting tab here, you will notice your rank. Additionally, for the tier 3 armor, so the armor that I currently have on here, which is going to have the additional shiny lights that come out of your back, as well as the glowing effect and additional dye channels on them, you are going to need to be a minimum of rank 100 or the dragon rank in PvP. However, you can take the lower tier armor, which looks like this, and you are capable of taking that armor and putting it into the Mystic Forge and creating the legendary armor this way as well. Alright, so now that we've covered the prerequisites that are required and how to progress through the reward tracks here, let's go ahead and take a look at the list of materials that is going to be required to complete this armor to a full set of legendary armor. And for the quantities, I'm just going to list them off in what you need to make all 6 quantities for the entire set. So for the record of league victories, you're going to need 180 PvP league tickets. You are going to need 300 spirit shards for the Eldritch Scroll, as well as 300 obsidian shards. You're going to need a total of 6 balls of dark energy and 450 stabilizing matrices. The next item on the list is the Gift of Competitive Dedication, where you're going to need 120 PvP League tickets, as well as 600 Spirit Shards for the Glob of Condensed Spirit Energy. The next item in that recipe is the Star of Glory, where you are going to need 2,400 Ascended Shards of Glory and a Jar of Distilled Glory, totaling out for a total of 6,000 Shards of Glory. The final item that is part of the Mystic Forge recipe that is not the gear itself is the Gift of Competitive Prosperity, and the most costly gift to create in this recipe, which is going to take a Mystic Core Fragment, 15 Mystic Clovers, a Gift of Condensed Might, and a Gift of Condensed Magic. The Gift of Condensed Might and the Gift of Condensed Magic are the difficult ones because to get 6 of those, you are going to need 600 of the Tier 6 trophies, so that is your Fangs, Scales, Claws, Bones, Blood, Venom, Totems, and Dust, as well as 1,500 of the Tier 5, 300 of the Tier 4, and 300 of the Tier 3 items. The other materials then will just be the Grandmaster marks that you're going to be required for the Ascended armor, where you are going to need 20 of those, as well as 1,200 PvP League tickets and 1,500 Shards of Glory. Now, if you're going for the Tier 3 armor, to make that legendary, you're going to have to double that because you're going to need twice as many to buy another set of Ascended armor. Alright, so here we are at the market waypoint in the PvP lobby, and we are going to take a quick look at the 2 vendors that we need before we get into the couple different plans that I have to get you to a full set of legendary armor in PvP in 22 weeks. So the first vendor here is the League vendor, and he's going to give you all of the items that you need that are not specifically going to be the Ascended gear. And then you also have the armor vendor, which is right next to him. So conveniently, you'll have both of those right next to. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the roadmap here. So the roadmap is going to take us across 2 of the 5v5 tournament seasons, which are 8 weeks, and 2 of the mini seasons, which are 3 weeks apiece, taking us to the 22-week total. During the first 6 reward tracks, you are going to need to run the Glorious Armor boxes so that you have access to your Tier 1 armor for the set that you are trying to create, as well as the core fragments. After that, I am suggesting that we start using a Living Season 4 map, and that is because of the Unbound Magic and the access to trophy shipments to reduce the costs of the Gift of Competitive Prowess, which is going to require all of those T3 through T6 materials. So the Living Season 4, what we'll do with those reward tracks is we'll take the final reward. We will take the, if you're doing the Dragon Stand, you'll take the 60 of the Dragon Stand map currency, and then you will consume that to get the Volatile Magic, which should give you approximately about 1,200 Volatile Magic for each reward track run, or a little over 4 trophy shipments per completion, reward track completion. Next, let's go ahead and talk about Mystic Clovers. Fortunately, using this method, we're going to have 132 Mystic Clovers and only needing 90 of them to complete this, so we'll have an excess of Mystic Clovers at the end of this, as well as some additional PvP reward potions. If you don't need to use them to kind of hold cadence with this reward track, you will have access to 462 reward potions roughly by the end of this, or about the ability to complete 5 complete reward tracks and most of a 6th. Next, let's talk about the gold. And gold from PvP, ranked PvP specifically, is no stranger. It's the best place to make raw gold in the game. There are better farming methods to get more material value onto your account per hour, but as far as just making raw gold, in this guide, you'll be able to make about a little under 1,400 gold, and that is between the win-loss gold that you'll be receiving, as well as the reward track gold and the completion of the daily quest to get that additional 2 gold and 3 spirit shards. Obsidian shards also will be very easy with this guide, and you will be well above the amount of obsidian shards you need, as well as the regular shards of glory. You will be more than ample there. You may need to buy a few if you're going for the tier 3 armor, but they're relatively inexpensive currently. They're about under half a silver per unit. Next, we will talk about the Grand Master Marks. You are going to be able to get 14 of those if you are using the World versus World methodology, and you will only have access to 8 of them if you are using the PvP only methodology, leaving a little more money that you're going to have to sink into the crafting of the Grand Master Marks, but you are also going to be getting about an additional 380 gold running through the reward tracks if you stay exclusively in PvP. Now, the final part, and where you're going to be spending a lot of that hard-earned gold that you've just grinded out, is going to be for the trophy shipments. While we've minimized as best we can with the volatile magic the need for additional trophies from the tier 5 area, you're definitely going to be looking at needing to purchase about 300 to 350 of most of the tier 6 materials, as well as needing some T3 and T4 materials to complete the Gift of Competitive Prowess. One additional suggestion I have is, if you have an additional character and you are able to park it at the top of the jumping puzzle that is located in Crystal Oasis, you're able to loot the chest here, which will give you access to trade contracts, which you then can use at heart vendors throughout the Living Season 4 maps, as well as the Path of Fire heart vendors to get access to additional trophy shipments, which can be even more targeted at a specific trophy that you are currently lacking in, because those vendors will have trophy shipments which will give you 3 specific trophy types per that reward. Alright guys, just some final thoughts as we are wrapping this video up. First of all, if you are frustrated playing so much PvP in a single day, I know it's a lot of time to be dedicating to PvP, and not everybody is always super friendly in this game mode. You can definitely diversify out a little bit for the world versus world and do it that way, or you can stretch it out over some additional seasons. And you may also find that you enjoy maybe the mini season GW2 death matches more than the 5v5 season, and you may want to just spend a little more time during the mini seasons gaining your progression as opposed to really grinding it out hard during the 5v5 season. So definitely you can make some modifications there. You're definitely going to be able to take this at your own pace, take it a little bit slower if you need to, but that's how you're going to get to a full set of legendary armor in 22 weeks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you currently aren't already. Hopefully everyone has a great time, and we'll catch you next time.